All right, welcome everybody to the last day of the week. We got Monday coming up off, so don't be here on Monday because I'm not going to be here. So, your upcoming assignment is going to be making a minute-long movie on Scratch. It's going to be like a morality play, if you're familiar with that concept, like an Aesop's fable that's trying to convey some moral message to people. And you're going to pick one of the ethical systems that we've talked about in this class: utilitarianism, Kantian ethics, virtue ethics, whatever. And Hakuna Matata, yeah, that's the slacker philosophy. I don't know. And you're going to make a movie for a fifth grader. Okay. So my daughter and I actually sit here and grade the first 30 or so, and then we get bored and I pass it off to the TA to do the rest videos. And so if you want to get the extra credit, my daughter is the gatekeeper for the extra credit. And if she says I like that one, then you get an extra point on your movie. So you're in trouble. Yeah, you gotta figure out how to appeal to a fifth grader. That's a tough target audience, especially because she doesn't like Disney. And if you try doing things like Frozen, like it's gonna go poorly for you. I mean, you'll still get a 10 out of 10, but you won't get the extra credit. So her interests involve heavy metal, video game glitches, Skyrim. I don't know, like you know, uh, it's it'll be kind of a tough one for you guys to figure out there. So yeah, but the content matter should be appropriate for a fifth grader. Like the kind of thing you could play for a class of fifth graders to teach them a moral lesson or something like that. Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make a. Let me just delete these out from the last class here. Bloop, 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 and bloop, bloop, bloop. There we go. Starting over. Okay, so for your assignment, you're going to have to um, make three characters that move around and say things. Okay, and I've got some examples here, and I'm going to mute the Darude sandstorm that comes out of it. Hopefully, if I do this right, it won't make it on the recording, and I won't get copyright struck. So let me switch the streaming to this. Change windows there. Full screen. Okay. Okay. So let me, like, if the stream drops or you lose audio for a second, that might just be me muting the Darude sandstorm. Okay, so if you're watching the video at home, I bleeped out the Darude sandstorm, but the guy's like, "You guys suck." So you guys are participating in Kantian ethics. There you go. So that's about it. And then so that would be an A, and then let's see, do I have the cat one? Hide their grades. There you go. All right.
What's the matter?
A coyote is after my babies.
Head to the pavilion.
I know they're in there. Feline.
Who?
My dinner.
They don't seem to be on your plate at the moment.
That's why I need to get in there. Feline. Please, unlock the fence so I can eat. If
Can't
I
hear it?
don't eat today, I won't have any energy to hunt tomorrow and I'll surely die.
I'm sorry, but both my owner and I are firm believers of ethical hedonism.
What are you babbling about?
If I let you in, you'll satiate your hunger and live to see another day. But the lives of 5 ducks will be lost. I'm also quite sure my owner won't be too thrilled if it turns out a coyote entered his backyard, and I myself don't want to witness your savagery in person. By ethical hedonism, I will not let you in, since you will only satisfy yourself while causing pain to 5 ducks, me, and my owner.
You're kidding, right? You slimy little rascal. You better hope I don't get in there. And you better hope I don't ever see you wandering beyond these gates.
Rest here tonight. You can all leave tomorrow.
The cat is right and the math is simple, a ratio of 7 to 1. The coyote will have to find other prey tonight.
There you go. All right. So that is a ethical hedonism. Switch the stream back on to here. All right. So what do you guys think? Do you guys have kind of an idea of what we're looking for here? Both of those were quite fantastic, I think. Neither one of which appealed to my daughter, and so did not get extra credit. So there you go. It's a high bar to reach. Are there any videos we can watch to help us with this assignment? Yes, this video right here. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to do it right now. Okay. So let's hop on over to the Scratch thing. I've already added a few. Let me get my face out of the way. I've already added 3 actors here, and you can add actors by just clicking on these things here. I've added 2 backgrounds. Surprise background. There you go. Surprise me with another background. There you go. And if you click on the backdrop, you can see which backgrounds you have loaded up and stuff like that, and delete them out. So I've got 2. I've got a b-ball court and a basketball court. Basketball and baseball. They're both that's weird. They're both b-ball, but for whatever reason, b-ball means basketball. Okay. So, so what we have here are 3 actors, and the 3 actors have to move around. They have to talk, and each one of these bullet points you do, by the way, is like a letter grade. So if you have 2 characters instead of 3, you lose a letter grade. If they don't move, you lose a letter grade. If they don't say things, you lose a letter grade. The good news is, like, it's really easy to do that. So let me show you. So generally speaking, when I do Scratch, I start with when a green flag is clicked on each of the characters. And I usually start by setting them to reset their position to where they are currently. And when you do a go to, it actually sets it to their current location, which is nice. So D money is over here. So D money is going to reset its location here. And Calvert is going to set his location here. And the reason why we do this is so that as things like move around in the movie, if you start the movie again, they all reset back to the start. So that's usually what I start with. And usually I'll pick one of them. Like I'll have Anina here be the main character, I guess. And I'll have her set the backdrop to basketball field or something like that. So every time the movie starts, the backdrop resets, all the player positions reset, the actor positions reset, and then you can play the movie again and again without everything getting screwed up. So the rule is they need to move around, they need to talk to each other. So you can do something like this, right? So we'll have Alina or Nina. Let's see here. We'll set her costume to top stand, maybe. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So we will have her move around. So easy way of having her move around is you just move her and then use the glide thing here. And then it'll fill in the locations for you automatically. So we'll have her slide over there. And then we will have her switch costumes, or just go to next costume. And then I'll drag her over here and glide to there. And then rinse and repeat. Next costume, I'll have her fly up to here. And if you hit play, you see she goes that way, she goes that way, she goes that way. And you see it like animates a little bit. You know, this is not going to win an Oscar, but you know, it's amusing enough, right? As it is. Any theme recommendations that'll appeal to my daughter? It's a tricky one because like in the past, like I was like, my daughter likes My Little Ponies, and then like they just like went hardcore like 900% My Little Pony, and she's like, they're just trying to like get the extra credit, you know. So it's a tricky one because like if you pander too heavily, then you know you don't get the extra credit either. So I leave it as an open question, you know. What will amuse a fifth grader? So it's not the world's easiest to answer question. She likes Skyrim, heavy metal, Gojira, the band, Rammstein, fencing, volleyball, wrestling. I don't know. Probably, I don't know. Just do your best. Yep. Like I said, if you pander too heavily, then you're like, yeah. So we can also have her rotate or something. We're gonna have this guy do stuff here. Let's have D Money move around a little bit. So we'll turn, and then we'll have him like slide down to here. Turn back. Slide up to here. So you have these characters like moving around, you know, on the screen. There you go. That's maybe a little bit too far. A little bit. So see, every time I hit green flag, they reset their positions, and then that allows me to just keep clicking over and over again. It's like impressing Gordon Ramsay. Exactly. Yeah. So she likes violence. I guess it's one way of putting it. Just because we were outside, you know, sword fighting on our driveway yesterday, I guess you could say she likes violence. Violence is not the answer to the question. The answer is always yes. That's a good one. Well done, sir. Well done. Definite up, dudes. BFG division. Okay. So, and then we want them to say something. So we'll have Anina here dance around a little bit, and she will then say, what is your favorite food? And then now a lot of students will try to do the code like this. So like Anina is like moving around for 3 seconds, and then she talks for 2 seconds. And so a lot of students will try doing code like this. Like there's a wait option here, and they'll have it like wait for like 5 seconds or something like that. And this is a very dicey way of programming. It'll work. 1,000, 2, 1,000, and then I should probably have had to say something like, I like hamburgers or something. When's the assignment due? It's due a week from today. He says, I like hamburgers. Okay, there you go. And the trouble is though, like, what if I had Anina like, you know, talk for like 4 seconds instead, right? Then what's going to happen is that the timing's all going to get screwed up. And for a short thing like this, like you just fix it. But imagine you've got like all this stuff scripted out over a minute, and you add an extra second somewhere, all the timings break, and you have to go through and edit all of them, and it's really annoying. And you don't want to do that. So there's a better system. And this, you can record your own voices. Yep. You can make your own actors. Yep. It is all, you know, you can make your own backdrop. Right here. So the better way, and this is something that will probably be new for a lot of even the experienced computer science people, is the notion of doing what's called event-driven programming. So, for example, your code to like display about Firefox doesn't run normally. Like it normally just never runs until the user clicks on a menu, and the menu creates. And you click on About Firefox, and then it creates the window. So this is a reactive form of programming. Like what happens when you click green flag? What happens when you click the stop sign? this is an event, okay? And so we are doing event-driven programming already. When we click on the green flag, this code runs. You see this stuff highlighted in yellow that's running while the green flag is clicked. We can, however, create our own events, and we can use these events to synchronize the different actors as they're moving around and interacting with each other. So for example, I could have Anina here say, what is your favorite food? And then, here we go. Here's the big thing for today. Broadcast, new message called food question. Okay. And now this event gets sent to all of the actors on the stage. You'll use the voice from this recording to impress your daughter. Yeah, that will certainly work. How do you make your own actors? If you come over here, choose a sprite, you can choose to upload one. And then you just upload a new picture off of your hard drive. There's also a paint tool, and then you can like paint stick figure with your mouse. There you go. and now this guy will. This is so terrible. There you go. And so we now have a fourth actor on the screen. I'm going to delete that. Okay, so rather than doing this method where you're like waiting and like having to count out how many seconds Anina is doing, the better way of doing this is to not use the wait node very much at all, and instead say, when I receive the food question, respond with I like hamburgers. So every time the food question is asked, this character will say, I like hamburgers. Like that. Okay. And if I change the timing on her, because that was really long, if I change it down to 1 second, you'll see I don't have to adjust the timing on him anymore. Whenever that question comes in, maybe it's a little bit too fast now. Whenever the question comes in, he will respond with, I like hamburgers. And there you go. And we can have D-Money also respond to it as well. So when he receives the food question, he could say, for example, he could say, I like mom's spaghetti. Okay. And so they're moving around. What's your favorite food? I like hamburgers. I like mom's spaghetti. Now, these two guys are talking over each other, so maybe I have him like slide out of the way for a second. And then we go like this, we go like this, we go like this. She broadcasts the message. He responds immediately. He slides for a second and then says, I like mom's spaghetti. It's ready. Okay. Do we need to use Scratch? You have to use Scratch. Yes, this is a Scratch programming assignment. Good question, but yeah, you have to use Scratch. And it's the whole point of this is to teach you event-driven programming. Okay. And then this guy can send a message back to everybody. And so he can say, I like mom's spaghetti. And then after he's done with this 3 seconds of code here, he can broadcast a message as well. And he can say, mom's spaghetti. And then we can have Anina respond to that. And so when Anina receives mom's spaghetti, she could say, on the surface, he looks calm and ready. We go here. What's your favorite food? Hamburgers. I like mom's spaghetti. Then he sends a message. On the surface, he looks calm and ready. And so, and then she could like be like, so she can think that, and then she could like, I don't know, improvising here. We can like, let's see, let's check out her costumes. Pop right, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we will switch her costume to pop right. And then we'll have her slide over to here. And then glide to that location. And then we'll have her say, are you ready to drop bombs? Got remove and go in here. There, like mom spaghetti. On the surface, it looks calm and ready. And then she comes over here. They're ready to drop bombs. And then we can send another event, and so you can sit there and chain these events together. So broadcast a new message called, I don't know, drop bombs. If you guys aren't getting the reference to this, I'll play you the video in a second. And so D-Money will receive drop bombs, and he will then, I don't know. He will run away. I don't know. I'm so nervous. The words won't come out. And then we can have this guy over here say, all right, when we get drop bombs, then he will glide to here and say, all right, the rap competition begins now. And then you're going to have to mix in some sort of moral system. And then he can think to himself a little bit. And then see which costumes. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. So switch. Thinking. I don't think D-Money, we'll just call him Rabbit, is exhibiting the virtue of courage. Okay. So here is the premiere of Mom's Spaghetti, the musical. Oh. Why did D-Money not run away? What's going on here? Did I not? Okay. I forgot to make him. I thought I had him glide. Weird. So I moved him up here. I probably didn't put the glide in. Let's do that. And let's see here. Play sound. And then we'll play an event. Competition begins. And then Calvert, rather than receiving drop bombs, we're going to do. Okay, there we go. World premiere of Mom's Spaghetti. Here we go.
Hey.
Okay, so you get the idea. All right. So, yeah, he's just floated off into space. Is it necessary you have to have 3 characters? Yes, unless you want to lose the letter rate. It'll be due on a week from today. It's due on midnight on Thursday. So let's see here. You cannot. I mean, you can make it straight out of 2 characters if you want to get a B. Let's put it that way. Thank you for calling it a true masterpiece. If you have more characters, will you get extra credit? No, it's trivially easy to add more characters. It's like those animated history videos, yeah, like extra credit, extra history, that kind of stuff. You can have more than 3, sure. It's a minimum. So all 3 of them have to move around. All 3 of them have to say things. You have to have at least 3 characters. Oh, you have to switch backdrops somewhere in the middle of it. So let's come over here and That's the real mom spaghetti. Okay. And so, now let's switch the backdrop. Let's add a different. Where would a rap competition take place? The Arctic? The field at MIT? Night City. Okay. So we will switch the backdrop to Night City. Okay. Run it. You can record your own audio, yeah. If you make an hour-long film, please don't. Please don't make an hour-long film. I don't want to watch it. I have to grade like 110 of these things, so.
Hey.
Yeah, I could probably screen capture 8 Mile and put in there. Yeah. So you get the idea. Okay. If you're more creative, you get credit, and if you submit before it's due. Yeah, the videos that are submitted earlier are going to be the ones that are eligible for extra credit, simply because my daughter doesn't have the patience to grade 110 of these. So if you're going to go for the extra credit, try and be one of the first 30 or so to do it. Okay, so that's your assignment. Any other questions about it? It's all up here. Make sure you share. Make sure you like and share. Wait, no. Make sure you hit that share button and submit it on Canvas. If you don't share it, I'm not going to be able to view it. You'll get a 0. You'll be like, why did I get a 0? And you got a 0 because I can't view it. So, yeah. And have a story and a moral. Okay. Is there a video to help with this assignment? This video is the video that helps with the assignment. It all of the steps you need, I just went over right there, so you can watch it anytime you want. All right, so let me play the video for you. Let me pause the video so I don't get copyright stricken. Yeah, it's honestly one of the best parody videos I've ever seen. Like I can't play it because of the copyright reasons on the recording, but check out the Mom Spaghetti version of Lose Yourself. It is absolutely fantastic. So it is an extremely well-made music video. The real video is, of course, Lose Yourself by Eminem, which came out 20 years ago. All right. So what we're going to talk about for the rest of the class period is privacy in cryptography. So one thing that students often ask me is like, which do you use Firefox? And the answer is yes, I use Firefox. And why do I not trust Google? Because Google is literally a company founded on violating your privacy. Essentially, violating is not quite the right word, because they kind of tell you that they're doing it, right? And you sign on to like Gmail because they give it to you for free, in exchange for the voluntary violation of your privacy. So Firefox, if you care about privacy, is a lot better. Also, you've got uBlock Origin, which is just chef's kiss, one of the best add-ons ever made in human history that Google's been trying to get rid of on Chrome. I think they have a reprieve for now, but they've been trying to eliminate it because Google makes their money doing what? Ads, and so ad blockers are not probably the most popular thing at Google these days. DuckDuckGo and Firefox, yeah. Can you use a scene from a movie to create the game? Sure, absolutely. So other add-ons that I recommend is Privacy Badger. I don't care about cookies. Actually, just clicks OK on the cookies, because cookies really aren't the threat to privacy that people like. It's the wrong threat to privacy. Like the European Union broke the internet, right? Like if you're somebody that has bad vision and you go to a website and it pops up one of those little things on the bottom, like, please click here to accept the cookies. It breaks your screen reader and you can't use the website. Like, it's one of the absolute worst misguided laws of all time. It's not the GDPR. It's some other stupid European Union rule It's like, you have to click to accept the cookie. And it just stops the website from working. Absolutely terrible. So I don't care about cookies. Because why? Because they know that you're like, when you connect to a website, they know which IP address you're coming from. And so the cookies don't violate your privacy in any way, shape, or form, unless it's like a cross-site cookie, which is blocked by Firefox anyway. So that whole law is just all downside with really very little upside. HTTPS everywhere is what we're going to be talking about today. This notion of a secured, cryptographically secured encryption, turning on right-click, because a lot of websites try to disable right-clicking. Facebook purity sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It's kind of hit or miss, but it can eliminate ads from Facebook. Bypass paywalls clean has been delisted from the Firefox add-on site, which is a little bit dubious. Firefox, what's up with that? That gets rid of those stupid paywall messages on a lot of websites. And then sponsor block is a huge one too. Like anytime somebody's like, let me talk now about NordVPN and Raid Shadow Legends, it goes bloop and just skips right over it. So highly recommended add-on if you watch YouTube, because it'll just automatically skip anytime that people just do those embedded adverts for the people that are paying the money. Okay, so Raid Shadow. Yeah. This Seaside 1 episode is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Get 50% off NordVPN by using the code MomSpaghetti. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, Firefox, Nord, uBlock, yeah. Honey, oh Lord. So you pay for Google Photos cloud storage. Is it a mistake? See, the thing is, like, the whole point of Google is that the company as a whole is designed to learn everything about you, right? So they want you to use Android and have an Android phone and have Google Pixel, which is what I have, and upload all of your photos into the cloud, and to have all of your email handled by them, and have all of your search handled by them. Because what they're doing is they're building a comprehensive profile of you. Why? So they can advertise to you. That's the whole point of it, right? Is so that, like, they know better than you a lot of times, like, what you're interested in. And then they sell, when you go to a web page, what happens is that the web page pauses loading for a quarter second or so. And then it auctions off your information. It's like, here's what we know for Eduardo Cruz. You know, he's into Raid Shadow Legends and NordVPN and likes riding motorcycles or something. You know, who wants to sell him an ad? And then the ad companies will bid in real time. This is all automated, obviously. In real time, while you're loading the page, they're bidding on selling you an ad. Highest bidder wins, and then that chunk of the page turns into an ad from the advertising company, which is one of the reasons why uBlock Origin is so nice. It actually makes websites usable. I was giving a talk last semester, and I was using some presentation machine that didn't have an ad blocker on it. And I'm like, holy smokes, dude. Is this the internet for most people? It's horrible. What the hell is going on here? There's just ads everywhere, and everything just takes forever to load. And when you turn on uBlock Origin, like, things just load like way faster because it doesn't have to auction your information off or anything. It just loads the page. And I was like, and YouTube, like, what the heck is going on here, dude? Like, it is like unusable almost. And is there any cloud storage you trust? I use Dropbox myself. I don't know if they're trustworthy. I'm not gonna put my reputation on the line, such as it is. I don't really have a reputation, but I use Dropbox. I don't know if they're, you know, selling my information or not. But yeah, I'm very dubious of all things Google. That's why you can see up here I have a Google bookmark. Shoot, I use DuckDuckGo though. Like, if you see my thing, I use DuckDuckGo. They don't track you. I use Firefox with adequate plugins, and that works pretty well. I love ads. Trust Google. Yeah. So, is iCloud better or worse? I mean, it's Apple. Like Apple is pretty good on privacy in the perspective of, like, they don't let other companies steal your personal information, but they have it. So, yeah, it's the same thing with Google. Like Google's like, we respect your privacy. We don't share your personal information with Microsoft. It's like, yeah, I know, because like then Microsoft would be able to advertise to me. It's, you know, we just want your personal data. You know, nobody else can have it. So I don't know if that. I mean, technically, yes, they do care about your privacy. They just want it. So go off the grid. Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, I care about privacy, and I have a freaking Pixel phone. Why? Because I like taking nice pictures on my phone, and so I don't have any of the. I have as much telemetry disabled as I can on the thing, and I'm still reasonably confident that Google's, spying on me. So we're going to talk today a little bit more about this kind of stuff. Let's talk about cryptography. Cryptography is the notion that, like, if you're going to send a message to somebody, that you don't want other people other than the person you're sending it to read it. So, for example, when Hannibal crossed the Alps, he went around and he kicked Rome around for about 10 years when he was in Italy, and was never able to decisively defeat Rome because he didn't have any siege engines. So he sent a letter to his brother in Spain. Brother in Spain builds a bunch of siege engines, comes back across the Alps. His crossing was Hadrispal. Do you pronounce that? Hadrispal. Hasdrubal. Hasdrubal. That's it. We need to bring back Hasdrubal as a name. That is a great name. Anyhow, so he sends a letter to his brother, saying, "Hey, I'm in Italy now. I've got siege engines. Come meet me." And the email, obviously not email, the email was intercepted by the Romans, and they march north. They kill Hasdrubal and behead him, and march south to Hannibal and throw the brother's head at him and say, "Suck on that, dude." And they were not gracious losers, let me tell you, these Romans. And so Hannibal, that basically ended Hannibal's chance to conquer Rome. He still just marched around Italy. The Romans were terrified of him at that point. Like, they refused to fight him because he had already slaughtered 3 of their armies and they didn't have any men left, basically. So they just ran away from Hannibal the whole time. But that's why you need cryptography. That's why you need to secure your communications. If they had used even a very simple cryptography system, then, we would probably be living in a very different world today, because the system of government used in Carthage was quite different from the Roman system. Different set of values, different set of governing, structures and stuff like that. And like that one email not being encrypted completely changed the course of history in the Western world. So nowadays we have better crypto systems than this kind of stuff. Back in the day, like in Roman times, they have these things called Caesar ciphers, where like you replace the letter A with the number 1 and B with the letter 2, or you use something really terrible like ROT13 encryption, where all of your letters, you just add 13 to it. So, for example, if you have Mauricio Bolanos as a name, then that is your hacker name. Genevieve Jahira becomes Manuvan as your hacker name. And Eduardo becomes Raknib. Rune becomes Uneba. So there you go. So ROT13 is good for making a hacker name, pretty much nothing else, right? Because you can just decrypt it very easily. So back in the day, like, all of these crypto systems were easy to break if you knew what system they were using. If you knew that they were using a Caesar cipher, especially if you knew how they were substituting A for 1 and B for 2 and so on and so forth. Very easy to decrypt. So nowadays, though, we use modern encryption systems, public key encryption systems. The first one, the most famous one, is called RSA. It was the R, the S, and the A are Best, Shamir, and Adelman, who were drinking one evening at MIT. And as a side note, like, you'd be surprised, like, how many like huge breakthroughs in science and math and technology have come about when people are not working. Like, you just kind of let a problem percolate in the back of your head. And like, I've watched interviews with like Teller and Heisenberg and Einstein and Freeman Dyson, and they're like, yeah, I was out on a walk through the woods, and the theory of, the uncertainty principle came to me, or something like that. And these guys were just drunk and like passed out on a couch, I think, or something like that. And like they had this idea. They're like, oh, what if there was some math that was easy to do one way, but not the other way? Then we could encrypt things, but people couldn't decrypt it, even if they knew what we were doing. And what they came across was the fact that it's easier to multiply numbers together than it is to factor them. And this might sound weird to you because, like, factoring 15, you get 3 and 5. It seems easy. But when you're talking about numbers that are like 100 digits long, it's very easy to multiply them for a computer. But it's like heat death of the universe to like factor them back out. And so when you're talking about numbers that are like 500 digits long, like there's just no feasible way to factor them in any reasonable amount of time given current technologies. So this principle was turned into a crypto system where you can send an email to somebody. So like, let's say that Christian was a journalist for the Guardian in the UK, and he has a public key, what's called a public key. What I do is I use his public key and I encrypt an email using his public key, and it turns into what looks like garbage, and I mail it to him. And anybody who intercepts that email can't read it. Why? Because it's garbage. The only person who can read it is Christian, because Christian has what is called a private key. And the private key allows him to decrypt the email and then read it. And then if he wants to respond to me, he uses my public key and he encrypts his message. Yeah, that sounds cool. Using my public key, and it comes across the internet. Again, completely impossible for anybody to decipher unless they have my private key. So I keep my private key private for that reason. And then I get it and I decrypt it using the private key, and we can have a message back and forth. And this is what you see, like if you ever go to like a bank, like if you go to Bank of America, then you will see a little lock icon up here. And that means that you are using a cryptographically secured connection. Nobody in the world can view what you're typing here for your username and your password and things like that, except for Bank of America, obviously. And when you send them things and they send you back, your account balance or whatever, nobody, even if somebody's eavesdropping on that, they don't know what you're sending to and from Bank of America. Now, they do know that you are talking to Bank of America. And so if you want to disguise the fact that you're even talking to Bank of America at all, you can use a VPN. Which brings us to our sponsor for today. I'm kidding. NordVPN. Yeah, but like if you use a VPN like NordVPN, then it would disguise who you're talking to. Like all they would know is that you're talking to NordVPN, and then NordVPN is talking to Bank of America, but there's no connection between those two, so they don't know who you're talking to anymore. So VPNs are good for disguising your who you're talking to. Cryptography is good for disguising what you're saying to them, and you should always use HTTPS. So I actually have an extension that I showed you earlier called HTTPS Everywhere. And so if I even try connecting using HTTP, which is the non-secure version, which means that everything I send is just over plain text, HTTPS Everywhere switches that back to HTTPS. So it becomes a secure. The S is for secure. It becomes a secure connection. And that's good. Like, I can tell you stories back in the day of like what happens when you don't have a secure connection. When I was a freshman and sophomore, that was right around the time where this kind of stuff was coming out, and I switched to it immediately because I was a practical joker and I did not want people pranking me back after I pranked them. And so I would be in a computer lab, and all of my friends would be logging in, on the server. And back in those days, you would just type in, my username is Christian Ruiz. Boop. What's your password? My password is password1234. Boop. And it would go over just as text over the internet. And so what I would do is I'd put my computer into what's called promiscuous mode, my Ethernet card into promiscuous mode, which sounds much sexier than it actually was. And what it would do is it would listen to all of the communications between all of the computers in the lab and the server and log them. And then I could go through the logs and find out that my friend's username is such and such, and his password is password1234. And then I could log in as him. And so And so you would think that I would do something like deleting his files or something like that. And like sometimes we would like make it so that when you log in, it would display a message like change your password, please. You have been hacked, or something like that. Just let people know. But no, like my favorite prank ever was on a guy named Brian Dagenhart, who about 8 years ago rewrote Twitter. Twitter, the Twitter. And when we were in college together, he was on a mailing list for OpenGL. OpenGL is still around, I guess. It's not used very much anymore. Vulkan's more popular now, but it's a way of drawing 3D graphics on the screen. I had been working in the games industry doing virtual reality video games, arcade games at the time, and I had some experience with OpenGL. And so, like, he was on this mailing list for OpenGL. And so occasionally people would post questions like, hey, how does triangle rasterization work? And I would write as him. I would log in as him and go into his email client and write these long multi-page essays, very completely true, completely factual, very with examples and everything like that. Very high quality responses, and I would respond as him on the mailing list. And then people would read it and send him a thank you letter, like, oh, thank you for that response. It was very thoughtful and very helpful of you. And he would get the response email and be like, what? Why am I getting all these emails from people like thanking me for like being a smart person and stuff like that? So, like, oh well, thank you. And so my practical joke was making my buddy look good on the internet. So, promiscuous mode wherever you are. Was it Timberland and who was the promiscuous girl? Who was it? Nelly Furtado. Yeah, I was gonna say Nelly, but I'm like Nelly's the rapper, right? So, yeah, Nelly Furtado. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and that's why we secure communications, because it's a really bad idea sending out your username and password where anybody can just write it down and log in as you. So yeah, so always make sure that you're using HTTPS, and again the add-on for that is a HTTPS everywhere. It's a great one, and just good practice to be in. And you might be wondering, okay, so what does this verified by Amazon thing mean? Well, one possible attack is if somebody publishes a public key and somebody else like intercepts it and puts in their public key instead, then they can read your emails. And so what's happening here is that their public key is essentially verified by Amazon. So if you trust Amazon, then you can trust Canvas, because Canvas uses Amazon web services for the backend stuff on it. And so you might be like, well, how do I know I can trust Amazon? That's a great question. Like, I don't know. That's a good question. But at least you have a third party Amazon here vetting that Canvas is who they say they are. Like Amazon saying, yeah, that's actually Canvas that you're talking to. So yeah, if you trust Amazon, then there you go. I can't give you a definitive guideline if you should trust Amazon, but yeah. Is the stream frozen? Hello. Okay. Well, that's it for today anyway. So we'll probably do like a textbook reading or something like that on cryptography. But for now, you got your essay, and you got your quiz. You got the scratch storybooks. I'm gonna hold off on the textbook reading until you've kind of cleared out a little bit of the backlog. Okay. Outro music starts. Exactly. All right. Thanks for coming out, you guys. Have a great weekend. No class on Monday. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. All right. Peace out. Is the video for Wednesday class uploaded? Yes, it is. Check it on Canvas. It's up there. All right. Peace out.